Hello everyone, my name is Bruce Buffington.
And I'm Ann Morrow.
And thank you for tuning in. Stick around, you're going to want to know why we're sitting on these stability balls, but you are tuned in to Cycology Today, brought to you by Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. And the definition that we have for psychology is CYCTY, is the science of propelling oneself safely through the environment to enhance well-being.
And Bruce, we want to make sure that we thank Baja Fresh, who provided a delicious meal for our volunteer crew this evening.
Now, we'd like to give you kind of a lineup of our guests tonight. We have Jacqueline Sinke from Fitness and Function. She's also a Northwest Bicycle Safety Council Executive Board member, and she operates one of the cameras right here on Cycology Today show. And we have Tim Olszewski over in the event corner, and Tim is on the Northwest Bicycle Safety Council Advisory Board. I'd like to share a few little tidbits with you before we get started. I'd like to thank Trailhead Cycles. Bernie over there helped out one of our council members, and she had a little difficulty with her bike, and we really appreciate his assistance. We also were advised of Performance Bike Shop Beaverton on Thursday, June 19th at 6 p.m. has a clinic, and it's a free clinic on how to repair a flat. If you can't make that one, consult your website or your local bicycle shop for other repair opportunities, and a lot of those clinics are generally free. The other thing I'd like to share with you is, now the senior rollers, they ride at Stubb Stewart Park quite often, and one of the things they want is for you to be aware when you're on your bike up at Stubb Stewart Park. So, J.R. Beaver wants you to remember, wear a helmet, bikes should follow the same rules as cars, and watch out for other people, bikes, cars when you're on the trails and in the campgrounds. And one last thing, we'd like to thank Therapeutic Associates for sponsoring our Northwest Bicycle Safety Council polo shirts. As you can see, we've gone blue. So, Ann, what do you say? Oh, I know what. I forgot to ask you about what you've been doing since the last show.
Well, yeah, Bruce. I wanted to tell you that I did the Gorge Ride on Saturday, and you might remember that we had a show about that area. So the ride started in the Dalles and went up to Rowena Crest and to the Hatfield Trailhead there by Hood River. And there were quite a few riders out. I think several hundred came out and supported that endeavor to try to refurbish all that area and have that trail back so that we can enjoy that area. So it was really a great ride.
It's a big talked about project, and it must have been a great ride. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it because we had our helmet fitting at Cedar Hills Crossing, and we had a whole lot of kids come out, and we fitted about 150 people with helmets that day.
I understand you were very busy.
We were. So what do you say we get started, Ann?
Yes, let's. Jacqueline Sinke is going to join us now, and we're going to talk about being fit so that you can ride better, and she's going to tell us about her own credentials and why she's here joining us and talking about fitness and cycling and how that can increase your performance and, maybe more important, help prevent injury. Jacqueline, why don't you tell us, Bruce introduced you earlier and kind of gave an overview of who you are, but you really have an extensive fitness background. So why don't you tell us some of your credentials?
I've been in the health and fitness industry for about 16 years, and I'm certified with the American Council on Exercise as a clinical exercise specialist and advanced health and fitness specialist. I'm also an IDA Master Personal Trainer. Personal training certification also through the American Council on Exercise, and the American College of Sports Medicine Health Fitness Instructor. And next to that, I also teach first aid, CPR, and AED classes as well.
I hope we don't need first aid this evening.
I hope not either.
Well, let's talk about the idea that doing other kinds of exercises in conjunction with bicycling can help you prevent injury and can improve your performance cycling. So there's a lot of different kinds of cycling to start out with. Let's consider some of those that different riders are doing different kinds of cycling.
Right. Well, of course, you have the riders who like to do the recreational fun rides, transportation, and what you have to consider when you're riding your bike for transportation is the distance and level of difficulty. If there's any hills in your in the ride, also performance or racing type riding. Riding to possibly manage a chronic illness, such as lowering blood glucose levels where you have type 2 diabetes, or possibly reducing your blood pressure ratings when you have high blood pressure. So there's a lot of reasons why you might want to get a bike and start riding.
And then let's consider some of the different kinds of cyclists. I mean, some of us are starting from ground zero, some of us are a little more fit. So we want to consider some of those elements too.
Right, you could either be, active or competitive type of a rider. You may be sedentary right now, but you may want to consider riding a bike. Also, weekend warriors, I'm sure there's plenty of those around as well. And if there's any medical conditions you need to be concerned about, any other health issues or orthopedic issues you may have to be concerned about. So you want to definitely take that into consideration in what type of riding you want to do.
Okay. Well, again, why don't you tell us about the performance, improving our performance, and preventing injury. What kinds of exercises can we be doing for that kind of, just considering that? Right.
For the type of exercise to help you prevent injury and improve performance, you want to incorporate some type of muscle strengthening or strength training workout, also flexibility training, so that you have a safe ride and also have fun, that you don't have to overexert yourself, so you're not working at your maximal level all the time. Muscle strengthening exercises help to strengthen, of course, the muscles of the body, the ligaments and the bones. And stretching exercises help you to maintain your flexibility and range of motion in the joints. So all those together help you maintain a good level of fitness. What's need to be taken into consideration is abdominal, lower back, the core strengthening exercises. Those are often ignored in many fitness programs, and those help you to maintain good posture while you're riding, and also preventing injury.
I hadn't really thought about that. I just kind of, I guess, think from the waist down, that's what I need, is my legs to work right. But you're saying this is kind of a whole body thing, so we really need to consider not just muscle strength, but being loose and limber and the core of your body.
Right. I want to point out to one study that goes this is from the Neuromuscular Research Laboratory at the University of Pittsburgh. They sought to determine the importance of core strength, so abdominal and lower back strength, among a group of competitive cyclists. They determined in this study that core fatigue altered the mechanics of lower body work in those competitive cyclists and increased the risk of injury. The study indicated that core strength development was a vital training component for cyclists, and it was suggested to integrate a year-round core routine and core conditioning into the current exercise program to promote lower body extremity alignment while cycling, which is essential for injury prevention and also performance. So what this basically means is no matter what your fitness level or riding of cycling, core strength is important to reduce the risk of injury, but also for optimum performance too. It doesn't matter, what rides you are choosing to take.
And you're going to show us, give us some examples of core building exercises in a few minutes.
Right.
Let's also, before we get on to the actual exercises, I'm a person that my doctor is happy that I'm riding a bike. It's good for my health, and I have the lower blood pressure and that sort of thing. But I'm a person that needs some high impact exercises because of a bone density issue.
Right.
And so maybe we need to complement our bicycling and the exercise that provides with some other exercises as well. And you've got some information about that?
Absolutely. Cycling is a low impact type of activity, so it's not really bone building type of activity. And study, I'm going back to the research, but this was actually a study from the University of Missouri in Columbia that has found that men engaging in predominantly low impact type forms of exercise, such as cycling, have an increased incidence of osteopenia, which is a condition resulting in low bone density. And they have the risk of 2 times the risk of bone fracture. The researchers tested 43, again, competitive cyclists, male cyclists, ages 20 to 59. These cyclists had a significantly lower bone density of the whole body, especially of the lumbar spine, which is your lower back, compared to runners. And 63% of the men had osteopenia and of the hip and the spine. So low bone density is often undiagnosed, and especially in men, they don't really get a bone density scan. The first time that they may know that they have low bone density when they fall and fracture a bone or break a bone, which can be, could have been prevented. So a fall or a crash on the bike could be devastating to someone's health and level of functioning.
Yes. Well, I have to say I was impressed that men suffer from this malady as well. I really think of it as something that affects women. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, so when female cyclists, when they're competitive, they definitely have to look into muscle strengthening exercises, jumping and weight-bearing type of activities, as well as the males, for maintaining their bone density, and that's extremely important. Muscle strengthening exercises, maybe just twice a week, 8 to 12 repetitions, and it doesn't have to take a lot. It could be done at home or at your health club where you like to go for exercise. So,
well, and I've certainly found that kind of the cross training of the exercising really helps in bicycling. So, Jacqueline, why don't you show us some exercises then? Let's have a demonstration and see some of the exercises that you would recommend for people to build the core. And we're not going to do maybe any real step aerobics or anything like that, but we're going to talk about the core and some of these other exercises and stretching.
Yes, what I'd like to go over the larger muscles definitely as well, lower body, upper body, the back and the chest muscles, and then going down to the core muscles. So we want to include a sample exercise program that can be done at home or at your health club.
Okay, good.
All right, well, let's get started.
Okay.
All right, so we'll start with lower body exercises. We're working the quadriceps and the hamstrings as well. We could do just basic exercise at home, or like a lunge, back lunge, or a forward lunge. You can incorporate hand weights at the same time. A back lunge strengthens your hamstrings and the quadriceps. You're stepping back, making sure that the knee doesn't pass the toe, and bring it back up. So you can do the same leg for 8 to 12 repetitions and possibly change sides. All right. And as a variation of an exercise such as this, we can also incorporate the foam roller. And the foam roller takes a little bit more balance for lower body strengthening exercises. And when you use the foam roller, when you're not familiar with it for lower body exercise, okay, you'll place your foot right here in the center of the roll and just touching with your toes. Get yourself nice and stable. Don't lock that knee where you're standing on. You're rolling it back as in a back lunge and taking it up again. So you're working on your balance as well as your lower body strength and also your posture at the same time. Okay, so you're going to inhale, take it down, roll it back down, and bring it up. And about 8 to 12 repetitions. Whoa. Bring it up.
That looks pretty.
All right, so that's a fairly advanced
That's a little more
exercise.
advanced, yes.
Yeah.
But I can see the benefits.
Okay. Also, calf muscles are easily to be trained at home or at the gym. Just basic heel lifts, single leg heel lifts. standing heel lifts, also seated heel lifts can also be incorporated, which is fairly simple. Now for upper body exercise, we can incorporate the ball. Maybe you want to try it out with me.
Yes, I'll try.
Okay, well we have these tubing here, and let me give you the yellow one, which is a little bit lighter.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you how to use the tubing for upper body exercise. We're working the back muscles, so we're going to loop the tubing around the foot once completely.
Okay.
So that gives it a nice secure fit. Okay, we'll put it around the foot, pull it nice and snug.
Okay.
And then we are going to extend that foot out and keep your heels resting on the floor. Keep that heel resting on the floor. Sit nice and tall. So place the hands about, palms facing each other. You're going to pull the tubing back, keeping the heels on the floor, and slowly bring it back forward. Okay, so you're going to exhale, pull the tubing back, squeeze your back muscles, and slowly lower back down. Okay, basic upper body row. Okay, strengthen the back muscles and also the biceps. So you exhale, pulling it back, hold, and slowly taking it back down. Okay. All right.
I can feel that in my back, in my upper back.
Right, so you're strengthening not just the muscles, the ligaments, but also the bones, especially in the upper back, upper body. All right, and you can do it at both sides, of course. I'm going to switch it over, actually, and then do an exercise for the biceps. Okay, you can just do one arm at a time, or you can do both of them together. Okay, I like to focus on just one arm at a time. Okay, so again, exhaling up and then inhaling, slowly taking it back down. All right, so let's take this off. For our the chest muscles, going down to basic push-ups on the floor, we can do that.
I'll let you do that.
All right, or we can also incorporate a ball, so you can basically adjust the level of difficulty.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, I'm going to push this a little bit further back, incorporate the ball. So I'm going to use the ball, I'm going to walk out, lying on the ball, like so. Okay, keep the core muscles nice and steady. Your hands should be about underneath your shoulders, maybe a little bit wider. You're going to keep the body nice and straight. You go and lower yourself down. Exhale, pressing it up. Okay, basic push-up, but using the ball. So the further you walk out, the more intense you can make your exercise program.
Now, most of us aren't too good at push-ups, and so this using the ball allows you to modify it so that if you're just getting started and you don't have that strength, you've got an easier option to build the strength.
Right. So now I just rolled a little bit further back. Okay, makes it a little bit easier. Going down, push yourself up. So the resistance is a lot less this way.
I see. That does look a lot easier. That looks like that would be my speed.
Okay, you want to give it a try?
No.
All right. Okay, let me try to get off here without falling off the stage.
So again, let's kind of review why we're strengthening our upper body. Why are we doing push-ups and working on our arms and our upper back as far as for cycling?
Right, when we do our push-up, we strengthen the chest muscles, which strengthen the shoulders, and we also strengthen the tricep muscles, the back of the arms. All these muscles are very important for riding. The back muscles help you also maintain that posture, upright posture, maintains your bone density as well. Next to those larger muscles, which your back and the chest muscles are, you also need to think about the other stabilizers, the trapezius muscles in the upper back, which helps you also maintain good posture while riding.
Okay.
And for some of those exercises, we can use hand weights or we can use the tubing also for strengthening. Okay. And maybe you want to do that with me, where we're going to do it's called an upright row, and we're going to do it standing.
Oh, okay.
All right. So let's bring it up to standing position. Upright row works the upper trapezius muscle, so you will have the hand weights right here in front of you, pulling it up and take it back down. Let me give you the weights here so you can give it a try. So keep the back muscles stand nice and tall, pulling it up and slowly taking it down again.
Okay.
So you're going to exhale, bring it up. And inhale when you take it down.
Oh,
so exhaling in the up position.
Exhale.
And inhale. Okay, so you're going to exhale, lifting it up. You work in the upper part of the back trapezius muscle. That also helps give support to the head and also for the arms. Okay. All right, now you could just bring the weight right beside you, like that, facing right next to your legs, and you can just go up to a basic shrug, also working the upper trapezius there as well.
And I've just got 3-pound hand weights here. That's kind of sufficient to start with, though.
It's okay to start with, yes. Okay, like 8 to 12 repetitions. When you reach the 12 repetitions, it should be somehow a little bit challenging.
Sure.
Okay, when it gets too easy, you probably need to increase your resistance a little bit.
Okay, but again, just starting out, you don't want to be hurting yourself or.
No.
So this is a good beginning.
Yes.
And what am I doing here again? I'm sorry.
Working the upper trapezius muscles, doing just a basic shoulder shrug, so up and down movement. This exercise gives support for the head and also for the arms.
Okay.
As well. Okay, very good.
Okay.
All right, very good. All right, let's take this down. When you don't have hand weights available, you can also use tubing and resistive tubing. And I have 2 colors here. We have a green and a yellow, and they do come in also different sizes or different resistance width as well. So this one is a medium, this one is a heavy. I didn't bring a light one because I knew you would be stronger using the light. The colors don't necessarily indicate how heavy they are because every manufacturer gives these tubing a different color. So whenever you're looking for a resistive tubing, ask the store where you're going to get it and for assistance what you like to use.
Okay.
So instead of using the hand weight for the upright row, we can also use the tubing. And you will just have the hands like this. Just bring it up like so and slowly lower it back down. So if you do not have hand weights available, resistive tubing are very light. You can take them anywhere. You can take them on a bike trip.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't weigh anything, and you can use it for many different things. It fits in your suitcase. And also for the shoulder shrugs, if you want to increase some tension, you place 2 feet right here in the tubing and also shrug the shoulders up, slowly take it back down. So you're exhaling, lifting it up and slowly lowering it down again. So resistive tubing is very versatile and you can use it everywhere.
And we see some of these things for sale and don't really know exactly how to use them. So it's helpful to watch you, so that makes it we can have the relatively inexpensive equipment in our home and do some of this, like you're saying, and ride our bikes.
Right, yes. So let's go down to the floor and show you exercise for the hamstring muscles.
Okay.
Often riders have very strong quadricep muscles, and the hamstring muscles may be a little bit too weak, and there may be a muscle imbalance. So these balls here, they can be used to also strengthen the hamstring. I'm going to show you 2 varieties, one without the ball and one with the ball. And this is an exercise that's called bridging. Okay. The first one is basic bridging. You bring it up, bring the hips up off the floor, squeezing the glutes and the hamstrings right here, and then slowly lowering back down. So you're lifting it. The balls are for rolling off the stage here. Go ahead, lifting it up, hold, and slowly take it back down. Now you can do the same exercise with a little higher level of difficulty using the ball. So you place the feet on top of the ball so you have an unstable surface. So you work a little bit more core. Okay, so we push up off the floor, hips up, hold it there for a few minutes, or for a few seconds, I'm sorry, and slowly lower it back down. Okay, lifting it up again, hold, and slowly take it back down. Now as a little step up, we're going to bring it up and then roll the ball all the way in.
Oh, wow.
We're working the hamstring muscles.
Okay.
And slowly take it back down. All right, just pull it back up, hold, and slowly roll it back out. And you're working the hamstring muscles, also the calf muscles, working the glutes, and also you feel in the lower back. So all those muscles are very important for stability and for strengthening the basically the backside.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And like you say, with bicycling, you might not pay any attention to your hamstrings, so there might be a muscle imbalance.
Yes.
Well, Jacqueline, do you have like maybe one more quick exercise, and then we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and do some more exercising. But if you have something quick to share with us.
Well, what's very important, not so much as an exercise, but also hydration is very important. While you exercise, drink water regular, and warming up prior to your exercise routine is also very important.
Boy, that really is true. I know I've found that if I don't hydrate, I notice a difference. And you kind of wonder, why do I feel so bad? Oh, I haven't been drinking water.
Right.
So even though our weather has been cooler this year, you definitely want to keep drinking that water on the ride or while you're exercising, and before and after.
Before and after, before you start riding, have a cup of water, and during your rides every maybe 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes, have some water as well.
Good idea.
Okay,
so
pay attention to how you feel.
And have water bottles. Well, let's take a break. We're going to have Tim do our events corner now. And then Bruce is going to join us, and we're going to do some more exercises and learn how to be better cyclists with exercise. So
okay,
Tim, why
wonderful.
don't you take it away?
Thank you, Ann. As Ann mentioned, my name is Tim Olszewski, and I am part of the Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. I'd like to let you know that I have been riding for about 6 years, and I know, and I'd like to let people know out there that there are some just wonderful experiences waiting out there for them. I do believe that Portland is one of the best cities for cycling. I started out riding a mountain bike. I rode like 3 to 5 miles a day. That slowly went to 5 miles a day and then 10 miles. I eventually bought myself a hybrid. I started riding 15, 20, then 30, then now I ride a road bike about 200 miles a week. My goal this evening is I just would like to see at least one more bike rider out there on the roads, maybe even more. And I'm going to attempt this just real quickly by letting you know what's out there, what cycling has been like to me, and what maybe it could be like to other people out there. I hope to convince, like I said, at least one person to go out, get their bike and go out for a few rides. And I think for those of you who've been seeing the gas prices, I would figure your bike's looking real attractive right now too. When I'm riding, I get out on the back roads. I like to go where the wildlife and the vegetation is all around me. I think about today's events while I'm riding. Riding is a good stress relief for me. I think about tomorrow's plans. Each and every ride that I do or that you may end up doing, whether it be 3 miles or 30 miles, is a great experience. You can go out, you can enjoy your neighborhoods, you can stroll the back roads and see the scenery around Portland. I've been riding in Washington County for various parts of Oregon for the last 6 years, like I said. I've been out, I've seen deer, I've seen coyotes, squirrels. The wildlife is just incredible out there in the Portland area and in the back roads. The vegetation is just as wonderful to see, and it's thoroughly enjoyable. If you get out, you may even see a zebra or Bigfoot. Who knows what you may see. What riding is like to me, how many of you have seen the movie Titanic? Come on, raise your hands. Remember when Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet were on the bow of the ship with their arms spread like that with the wind in their face? That's what riding feels like to me. It's just an incredible experience, and I just really never want it to stop. I also would like to let you know that there are various cycling organizations out there that have scheduled bike rides for you. There are rides for women, there are rides for retired people, there's fast-paced rides, there's slow rides. My first organized ride was a welcome ride. It was maybe 10 or 15 miles. These rides are done at moderate pace with rest stops. They're, of course, a group ride. They'll start at a location where you can get together with these people you ride with and have maybe a cup of coffee beforehand. There's a ride leader, sometimes more than one. They know the roads that they're riding on. They know the rules of the road. They can help with any questions you may have about cycling or riding roads. The group, as a group ride, the ride always stays together. So if one person has a flat, everybody has a flat, nobody gets lost, and the pace is comforting. Like I said, the start locations and the finish locations are always someplace where you can have coffee and visit. When I ride, I wear a helmet. I always use a mirror, and I can see and hear things around me. I ride like I drive my car. I use signals. I make sure that vehicles and other riders know what I'm doing. I always try to make eye contact. I try to stay on low traffic volume roads. Sometimes, traffic will change depending upon what day of the week it is and what time of day. I do believe that our roads are safe. I suggest you to know the rules of the road and use the hand signals and be courteous to drivers, because I found if you're nice to them, they're just as nice to you. By all means, I would like you to wear a helmet. Northwest Bicycle Safety Council has various helmet giveaways throughout the year, and that information can be found on the website. When you finish a ride, the sensation is wonderful. It's a great feeling of accomplishment, no matter if you went 3 miles or 30 miles. The food you have after is great. Nothing tastes better. You start thinking about where are you going to go next, where are you going to ride next, how far you want to ride. The shower and bath feel wonderful. And then you get to visit with friends who rode and have a good time. All I can say is it's just a wonderful experience for me, and I would just like to see one more person out there or more, talk to people and have a good time. So if you do have any questions and if you need any information, the website is www.nwbicyclesafetycouncil.org. And thank you, Bruce.
All right, Tim, that's very good, very informative. Now, somewhere along the line, somebody said, well, Bruce and Ann are going to be back with more exercise. But I think I should clarify something. Bruce and Ann are back, but I think Ann and Jacqueline are going to be doing the exercise.
Come on, Bruce.
Oh, look at me, I'm just swelling up like a balloon. I should do some, but I'm not full of grace. Wanted to mention our next show, which is going to be on July 15th, which is Tuesday, and that's the third Tuesday of the month. We're going to have Jessica Dorrington on, and she is from Therapeutic Associates, and that is a fitness company. There's several locations throughout Portland, and we're going to be discussing the perfect bike for you and how to fit your bike. They do professional bike fits. We're also going to have Margie Simmons, RN, who is on the executive board of Northwest Bicycle Safety Council and is our liaison to Trauma Nurses Talk Tough for the helmet program. In August, we're going to have a fashion show. Team Estrogen is going to be here with some bike clothes for women, and we're recruiting models. So if you want to be a model, we have several right now. If you want to model some of the Team Estrogen bike clothes, give us a holler at www.nwbicyclesafetycouncil.org. Now I'm going to let Ann take it away for the second part of this, and I'm going to maybe ask a question or two, but I'm not going to do any jumping jacks.
I'm not going to give you any jumping jacks. I'll maybe give you some homework for abdominal exercises on the ball. All right. What I'd like to finish up with is just some core exercises, also some stretching and flexibility. Core exercise, like we talked about earlier in the research, is very important for optimal mechanics of the body.
So, and the core being?
Core of abdominals, lower back, so everything surrounding your midsection, basically.
And I do have a midsection, as you can tell.
All right, we'll have to work on that, Bruce. Okay, for a basic abdominal crunch using the ball, what we're going to do is going to roll down so the ball is positioned right here underneath the curve of your back. Your feet should be about hip width apart. If you like a little bit more stability, you can place the feet a little bit wider wider. If you're very comfortable on the ball, you can bring the feet all the way in. Okay, I'm just gonna stay safe. I'm a little in the middle of the road. Place your hands here behind the head. Do not pull on the head. Make sure your head stays in a natural alignment of your spine. You're going to exhale, crunch up, contract those abdominal muscles, slowly take it back down and inhale. So you're going to exhale, lifting it up, hold, and slowly take it back down and inhale. All right, so you're working the abdominal muscles right here. Exhaling up and inhaling down, lifting it up, hold, and slowly lowering it down again. So we work the abdominal muscles for this part.
Now, you and I discussed these sit-ups on this stability ball, and I had mentioned I tried this at Tualatin Hills Park and Rec where I work out on occasion. And for the life of me, I couldn't keep myself up on that ball. So what is the secret for us first-timers that have tried it and we've fallen off and we're a little hesitant to get back on this thing?
All right, when you want to get on a ball, get a ball which is a little bit larger. I brought the larger balls with me. Also get a ball which is not blown up to its max, so it's a little bit soft, has a little bit more bounce to it. Also, when you're sitting on the ball, when you bring the feet very close together, your support is very narrow. So what you want for better stability, place your feet a little bit wider, have a wider base of support. So when you do your abdominal crunches, you walk out and you still keep that wide base of support. Also, don't have the feet so close into the ball because I will fall off too. Just bring them away from the ball. Wide base of stability for better support. All right, so the more comfortable, the stronger you become, you can bring the feet all the way close in and you're working more of the obliques, the sides of the abdominals.
And don't many people find the sit-up type thing on the ball a lot easier than any of the others? You don't get the neck pain and all those other issues?
Well, you may still have the neck pain, you know, support the head, okay? But it gives nice support for your lower back. It's very comfortable, actually. Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay. Shall I give you another exercise for the abdominals? Okay. Let's use something else. I'm just going to drop this back there because we're not going to use it anymore. This is a medicine ball. Okay. This actually is 6 pounds. This ball.
You mind if I try this?
It's not like a regular basketball. All right. So medicine ball training is also very popular. We can use it for abdominal work as well. So in this case, I'm just going to work the oblique muscles. So I'm going to sit on the floor and lean back just a little bit. So there is already muscle tension right here. And I'm just going to take the ball side to side. So we'll work the oblique muscles, bring it side to side. Okay, from one side to the other side.
Now, what does a ball like this weigh? I mean, can the average person work out with this ball?
You can start with, there's balls starting at probably 2 pounds, 3 pounds and up, all the way up to, I think, I don't know, 12 or 14 pound medicine balls. 6 or 8 pounds, 10 pounds, that's where I work with. I don't work with anything heavier than that. Okay, but they're very versatile. You can use it for many different type of exercises, sports-specific exercises, absolutely. Okay, the other thing which we also can use is flexibility exercises using the foam roller. And this may be new for some people. I don't know if you've seen the article in the Oregonian.
I did, yes.
About, what was it, a week ago or so, about certain exercises for cyclists. And there was also exercise in there and that helped relieve tension for the iliotibial band, which is the band that runs on the side of the leg. Okay, sometimes it gets very tight with cyclists, and what you can do is use the roller to loosen up or reduce some of the stress of that that area. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lie sideways on the foam roller, okay, and place it right here on the side of my hip. You can move the roller all the way up and down the leg. And when the leg is painful, when you feel some painful or sore areas, you may want to spend a little bit more time at that area because that basically indicates there's some muscle tension there. So you work the roller all the way up and down the leg. And I use my other leg, the one at the top, to move myself forward and back.
I saw something today that said something about when you'd be able to accomplish certain things. And in my mind, just watching you just now, I think I would be able to accomplish this in my dreams. And it looks very difficult, but you make it seem so easy.
It's not really that difficult, and basically when you lie on the roller, you let your body tell you where you need to go. If it's painful in one area, stay there a little bit longer and then move it along to a little bit further up the leg. And it's like with any type of exercise, the more you do it, the better you'll get to it.
Now, where could we get something like this so that we can practice in the privacy of our own home and not be embarrassed in front of the masses?
Many fitness facilities have them, fitness gyms, but sports stores.
Okay.
Okay, they'll have them. They should have them, or or you can just order them online
Can
too.
I feel that? I haven't seen one of these before.
Yeah.
This is basically the
I haven't seen one.
styrofoam roller. There are other ones now on the market which are high density, and these foam ones, they lose shape after a while. These were the original ones where they came out with. Now they have the high density, and they don't lose form or shape so much. These eventually, they sag in the middle and you have to get rid of them. The high density rollers, they are much more durable.
What about this mat? It looks awfully thin. Is that
This is
something?
just a yoga mat.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so just a basic yoga mat. Yes. All right.
Do you have any other core building exercises for us?
Absolutely.
Or stretching, if you'd like to.
Let's do some lower back exercises.
Okay.
Okay, so a basic exercise I know, Bruce, you can do as well.
Okay,
All right.
I give in.
Lying flat on the floor to start off.
I can lie flat on the floor very well. I'm good at that.
Okay, we're going to, you can start actually with the hands lying right next to you. We're going to work the lower body, the lower back muscles, your erector spine. Bring up the upper body, hold, and then slowly lowering it back down. Usually the lower back is one of the weakest areas of most people, also the cause of low back pain because they are weak. So lifting it up, hold, and slowly take it back down. If you want to add more resistance, you bring the arms up here, and then lift up, hold, and then lower down again. Okay, bring it up, hold, slowly take it back down and lower it. Lifting it up, hold, and slowly taking it back down.
So how many of these should you do during an exercise?
Again, about 10 to 15 repetitions is a good start. And you can do several sets, 1 to 3 sets. For a beginner, you may want to do one set first of 10-15 repetitions. And then the next day, just see how your body responds. If you have a lot of soreness, you probably want to ease back a little bit. You don't want to be as sore that you are not able to function, do all the normal daily activities that you normally do. Okay, so you may want a little bit of soreness, but not a level of soreness that's debilitating. Okay. Okay. So another exercise for core stability is called the bird dog, or some people also call the quadruped, and this is also a core stabilizer. And this exercise was also featured in the Oregonian. What you're going to do is extend one leg out and the opposite hand and bring it up, and then bring it in, or bring it up and bring it in. So you're working on your stability, balance, and your core muscles again, lower back and the abdominals. So you do about 10-15 repetitions on one side, you're switching it over. Same thing right there. You extend the leg out and arm in. As a variation, what you can also do, just lift the arm up and lifting the leg up. So again, you're working the muscle just a little bit differently.
I'm going to try this in the privacy of my own home, no one watching. I'm going to let you know if I'm able to balance myself. That looks like you really have to practice that in order to get that perfect balance that you seem to have.
You make it look easy.
Yes, but Bruce, I teach many people over a week's time. And how old are you?
Well,
I teach people who are in their 70s, 80s, and they're still able to do this. So age is not a limitation of mastering an exercise.
so I can't get out of it. I'm
You
gonna have
cannot
to
get
try
out of it.
I'm
No,
gonna have to
absolutely
try it.
not. Okay. So you definitely need to give it a try.
I know you and Ann had some other things that you were going over too in this segment.
Do you have some stretching then? And why don't you go over why stretching and having your muscles stretch would be important for a cyclist?
All right. Hamstring stretching, very important. You could lie on the floor or sit on the floor. Hamstring stretch. Let's.
And the hamstrings being?
Is the back of your legs,
Uh-huh.
upper leg behind the thigh muscle. Okay, keep the foot flex or reaching forward towards the toes, or you can hold on to the leg right here, reaching forward from the hip. You don't want to round the spine, you want to lean forward from the hip joint, stretching that muscle, the hamstrings. Okay, often they get very tight, you definitely want to stretch it. And we mentioned it before, during when you go on a bike ride also, you want to stretch your muscles before you hop on the bike and go for a ride. So you want to warm up, have a light stretch, and then get on the bike and do your riding. So you don't want to just jump on your bike and start riding.
So why don't you show us some of the stretches we might do out in the parking lot somewhere before we get on
All right,
our bicycle?
let's do that. Absolutely. Okay. So maybe we should get the bike out. Can we roll the bike to the front?
I can do that. You want to
Okay,
hang on to this
sure.
and we'll roll it out. I wouldn't trust that the helmet's going to stay on here, though.
Well, I'll try to be careful. All right, so you may want to use the bike as a means of support, okay, so you're not going to lose your balance if balance is an issue. Quadricep muscles, okay, we're going to pull the leg back, like so, and stretch that quadricep muscle. Okay, that's the front of your thigh, stretching that muscle like so. Okay, hold it for about 10-15 seconds. And then we also want to stretch the backside, the hamstring. So we just did that seated on the floor. We can also do this while we're standing. So bring the foot out, leaning forward from the hip joint, just holding on to your bike for support. So you're stretching the back of your thighs, the hamstrings, and also the calf muscles right here. Just hold your stretch again for about 10-15 seconds.
Now, is this before or after the ride?
You want to, before you start riding, you want to do a little bit of a warm-up. You can just walk in place, or do your jumping jacks. Okay, or just march in place, walk in place, just to get the blood to circulate. Okay, and warming up a little bit of the joints, do some light stretching, and then get on your bike. Okay, you don't want to pull a muscle. Okay, so we just stretch the quadricep muscles, then we go to stretch a hamstring muscle. The calf muscles are also very important. So what we're going to do, step back, okay, press the heel into the floor. Okay, so we're stretching that back leg. Just hold onto your bike like so. Stretch that back leg. Make sure your toes are pointed forward. Sometimes I see people stretch and the toe is pointed out to the side. So make sure the toe is pointed forward. Hold your stretch for about 10-15 seconds. And then switch sides, same thing on the other side. All right. And hold that stretch right here.
You're pretty good at balancing that bike and yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
All right. Also, just stretching the upper body, okay? You'll be holding onto your bike while cycling. You want to stretch your shoulder joints. So just bring the arm across, stretching the deltoids, stretching the shoulders right here. And then slowly bring the arm overhead, stretching the back of the arm, the triceps. You can pull the elbow from behind, holding a stretch right here. Stretching the tricep muscle, back of the arms. Okay, and then do the same thing, repeat it for the other side. Stretching the deltoid muscles, your shoulder joint. And then slowly bring the arm up overhead, press from the front or grab the elbow from behind, stretching the arm right here.
Now, you mentioned with some of these exercises you've been doing, even the more difficult ones, that people in their 70s and 80s can do this. Now, you're a specialist in geriatrics as well,
Right.
aren't you?
Yes.
So you really know about this as far as age really not really being a hindrance unless you have some physical problem.
And even if you have a physical problem, you can ride or exercise or be active even with a physical problem. You can work around the problem. You can do what you can. Don't let the physical ailment be a limitation. So you focus on what you can do, not on what you cannot do.
Well, we have the senior rollers, and they ride every Monday morning. Now they switched the time to 9 a.m. and they ride at different places. And it's amazing to see some of these guys because some are in their 70s. Most of us are in our 60s, some in their late 60s. And I guess it's amazing what cycling as a low-impact activity, as you mentioned, really is. I mean, any age could basically start cycling. Is that true?
Right, absolutely. And what the wonderful thing about cycling is it's an aerobic type of activity, so it conditions the heart and the lungs, which is really important of maintaining the heart and the lungs healthy. But also cardiovascular exercise, the latest research also indicates that it prevents dementia and Alzheimer's, so keeps your brain healthy and keeps you sharp. And you know, you want to be able to, you know, keep the brain healthy as long as you possibly can. So cardiovascular exercise is not just for the heart and the lungs, but also to keep that brain sharp.
I'm sold. I mean, I know that this is true. Also, it can help in losing weight as well. I basically bought a bicycle, my first one, to quit smoking, but I was also about 60 pounds overweight. But during that time, as I had the urge to smoke, I would jump on my bicycle, ride around until the urge went away. And then over a period of time, I dropped about 54 pounds. So and I did other things too. I had to change my lifestyle, but I think the bicycle helped change my lifestyle. And I didn't start riding until I was around 50 on serious rides when I joined the Portland Wheelman Touring Club.
Right, and with inactivity by itself is a risk factor for heart disease. So, you know, reducing the risk factors for heart disease by, you know, trying to get a bike and start riding regular, you're doing yourself a lot of good because you're reducing the risk for heart disease and stroke and any type of other cardiovascular disease.
We have a little over about 3.5 minutes for us. And in a moment, I want to ask Tim to join us up on stage as we continue and get ready for our wrap-up. So if you could work your way up. We have somewhat of an audience out there. That's why we've been looking out. Of course, we don't typically have an audience on this show. We had one last year during the Christmas show, which was kind of a fun show to do. But if you want to come down, or any council member or a sponsor or supporter is welcome to come on down. So maybe we could have time for a couple more things, and then we will start with our wrap-up. Tim doesn't have to really plug in if he doesn't want, but yeah, you're plugged in anyway.
Just move the ball out of the way.
I was sitting on one of those the whole time over there.
Oh yeah, Tim was sitting on a great big stability ball. That's why he was so tall. Well, Ann, do you have other things?
Well, do you have some other stretches that you want to show us, or?
Maybe a basic back stretch, just bringing the hands forward, pressing it forward. Okay, stretching the upper back. And then also you want to stretch your chest and shoulders, so bring the hands all the way behind your lower back, and press the elbows back, and take a deep breath in, fill up those lungs with oxygen. And exhale, so you really want to expand that rib cage there, because you need a lot of oxygen when you go riding. Okay, also keeping, you know, those muscles flexible, it also helps the breathing process. Okay, expanding that rib cage.
And I think we have time for a couple more things, and then I want to talk a little bit about this cycling camp, and before we do our wrap-up.
I like that, the stretching of the shoulders. Sometimes on a bike you kind of, not supposed to, but you kind of scrunch your shoulders up and kind of pinch them. So that's a good way to start before the ride, is focusing on getting them loosened up, and I like that.
Yeah, don't get into a shrug, uptight position.
And then you have sore muscles. Yeah.
Drop those shoulders, relax it.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. Now, next month, you will be behind the camera.
That's right.
Ann and I will be up here, and Tim will be out leading rides. He has a ride that leaves Bethany Village at the Starbucks there at 5 p.m., but it's supposed to switch to 6 p.m., I believe. It's on the every Tuesday, and it's for you that like to do those hammer kind of rides or the more difficult kind of rides. Also, there's a cycling camp July 18th through the 20th, and that's put on by Therapeutic Associates. And there's all sorts of things that they're going to have there. It's going to be in Bend, Oregon. Well, one of our famous and popular places to ride and has been over the years. Also, we'd like to remind you that on our next show, and I'm going to have to look at it again, it's July 15th, and we're going to have Jessica Dorrington, and it's going to be the best fit for every bike. And she is one of the directors of not Fitness Function, that is you, of Therapeutic Associates. I'd like to remind you that in order to obey the law, you have to know the law. And as Tim suggested, learn what the rules are. And don't forget J.R. Gopher. He says, you know, wear a helmet. Look out for one another. Tim mentioned making eye contact. Find safe places to ride. Pick your routes carefully. Have a good time out there and enjoy yourselves. And really, a courteous cyclist will get a courteous response from a motorist too when you have an unpleasant encounter. And I would like to thank all of those who have been doing the right thing, whether you're a cyclist, a motorist, or a pedestrian, when you encounter one another at an intersection or on the roadway, that to look out for one another. Because remember, we could be your brothers, mothers, fathers, sisters, and you would pass those family members with care. Why not do the same thing for the average cyclist on the road? And any parting words?
Well, I do want to thank our guest, Jacqueline, who gave us great demonstrations for exercising so we can be fitter, better cyclists, and Tim, who gave us a very inspirational discussion about bicycling, and I'm ready to ride. And of course, we want to thank our volunteers, our crew this evening, and TVCTV.
And thank you very much for tuning in.